some of the songs on the album are older songs from a time when I was in the band the first time, and then we remixed them and I re-recorded the vocals for them, and we put them on this record. Some of their newer tracks, Legacy of Extermination. Is a newer track that I'd written lyrics for, and we ended up going with that for the title track just because it was epic, and then we also had the video that went with it and everything.
Right.
From like a concept standpoint, Legacy of Extermination, it's really touching on that whole idea of the curse and the demise of being a human, like we just discussed. And then, like, for me, when I wrote the lyrics, and obviously they can be interpreted any way the listener wants to, but for me, when I wrote them, it was more like an extraterrestrial superior civilization viewing what's going on here and coming to the conclusion that the best way to save us is just to exterminate us.
Kind of like
Shit.
Independence,
Huh?
kind of like the movie Independence Day.
Yeah.
Badass. No, that's a great start. And I mean, I was going to ask about the back of the book summary, but there you go, people. There's your back of the book summary. So,
I lost audio.
hello. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yay, I'm back. Okay, so we dive into the legacy of extermination, starting with track 1. So it begins.
So it begins. Listen, enjoy.
So what's going on here lyrically, or is this it's been a little bit. Is
That's
this
just an
like
intro.
intro, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so in that case, track 2, we have Substance of Despair. What is going on here lyrically?
It's more of like that, like an internal struggle with that curse of existing, and just kind of like the perspective of like never feeling like you can relax and be able to breathe, that just the weight of existing and the oppression of it alone is just too much to bear.
Badass. That's obviously a great way to start the record. Just being in that mindset, realizing that the tragedy and just like the weight of everything. It's like, as a human being, you try your best to be a better person, a good person to those who surround you, but at the end of the day, we all have our sins. And like that's not even talking
yeah.
from a religious standpoint, but like we're animals at the end of the day. We just have more gadgets and gizmos. So we're like, fuck you, bear. I got a rifle, and they're like, like that's really the only difference between us and the planet's biggest predators is we have a freaking helicopter that we can just throw at a bear or something. Not that you should. That's not cool. Don't be throwing choppers at freaking grizzlies. Okay, that's not cool.
Yeah, you might encounter a cocaine bear.
Exactly. I was just about to mention that they might be on cocaine. Even then, well, maybe then throw a chopper at it. That might help, but who knows? That's funny. I can't believe that's a Tennessee local story. What the fuck? Track 3 being the architects. What's going on here? Is this like talking about the aliens? Is talking or introducing them?
The architects is really discussing like the real powers that be, not the ones that you see and are argued about on Fox and CNN, but
right,
the real people calling the shots, the ones behind the scenes making everything happen and drinking our blood, basically.
That's funny that you mentioned that because I'm like Freemasons, the Rothschilds. Yeah, you're right on the money there. It's funny. Oh my god, it's so fucked. And I really hope they get dismantled here pretty soon. But who knows how long that will take, And even after that, it's like, what do we do then? I'm like, well, just don't pretend that there are 4 different political parties here in the U.S. when there's only one. You know what I mean? It's goofy as hell.
Right.
But okay, so we got architects, which is low key about like the Freemasons and shit, which is always fun, or just whoever is behind the scenes.
Shadow government, basically, easy way to say it.
Shadow government. That's the healthy term because people are like, oh, Freemasons, watch what you're saying, dude. You might get taken away.
Right.
Track 4 being the 9 servants of darkness. Like that's a title track, dude.
What about his legs?
Yeah, it's literally about Lord of the Rings. It's about the Nazgul.
Okay, no, that's badass, dude. I mean, one way to incorporate and kind of like attribute, connect the human tragedy with what has inspired it. So that's really cool. We already talked about the title track, that being the legacy of extermination, this overarching narrative of powers higher than ourselves, controlling everything behind the scenes and just creating a legacy of extermination. Everybody, please go check out the music video for that. It's done really, really well. And it's the reason that I ended up hosting this band on the podcast in the first place. It's just good shit. Go check it out. So we move on to track 6.
Shout out Matt Napier.
Shout out to who?
Matt Napier. He's the one that shot and edited the video. He's done a lot of great work for a lot of the bands in the area. He's really talented.
Sweet. Shout out to Matt Napier then. Yep. Sweet. Track 6, we have Beneath Moonlight. Which is like this already sounds so gothic, bro, but I love it.
Yeah, so that one it's another it's instrumental, and it's really just like the precursor for the track coming out.
Right. Okay. Sick.
Actually, explain.
Yes.
I wrote probably 3 different versions of that song in the last 15 years.
Really?
One is a waltz that you heard on the album. One of them is heavy that you can find somewhere on YouTube, and one of them is just a piano track. And we tried forever just to get it to work, and it just never worked. And somehow, some way, that waltz just popped in my mind one day. He's hounding me to do this. We called it Haunt at the time.
Mm.
He's saying this track Haunt. I'm saying no. I finally give in because, like I said, the clap. And it turned out to be great. It turned out to be something I like. Ironically, I never finished that track.
Really?
What you hear, the last half of the track, is the first half of the track because I never went back to finish it. And I forgot completely what I had done.
Oh shit.
And the irony is, I think it makes more sense that way than what I would have actually put to it.
Because it's not settled, it's not finished.
Right. It doesn't completely resolve itself.
And therefore you can probably do like a sequel follow-up track to that in the future or some shit and be like, hey, remember Beneath Moonlight? This is the other half, bitches. Like that type of thing.
Dark Side of the Moon.
We actually put out a video for that not soon after Legacy.
Oh shit, really?
It's just him and a piano and a big empty hole.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really cool. I'm definitely gonna have to check that out, being that it's been such a long time since I've listened to this record, and like I just listen to an album every morning, so it naturally gets kind of like washed out of the brain. I'm like, how did that album go again? But at the same time, I know I love the album, and that's really what's important. Track 7, we have To Wander the Earth.
Absolutely.
What's going on here?
So that is the only track that I have not written lyrics for. That was a song that they had ready when I joined way back when. And so I just tracked it. He already had the lyrics, and I kind of mapped out the patterns with what was written. But my interpretation of the lyrics on that one is really like a descent into losing your mind, just like the world melting away and an alternate reality is now before you.
Oh shit. Okay. That's awesome, man.
I have
And
some insight on that one. When the original person wrote lyrics for it, he had asked me what kind of idea I'd wanted for it, and I told him something like, "You guys remember the fictional character from the Dimmu Borgir album, Death Called Armageddon? Had the the guy with the cloak?
oh shit.
Yeah.
He was called the Wanderer. He's like half man, half god, walking the earth after it's done, been raptured and everything. That's pretty much what I'd asked him to go for, and that's how it turned out.
Sweet. No, it's actually really cool and funny. I'm like now realizing, goddamn, I'm not original, because my main character for the channel is this dude called the Overseer, and it's mainly for a band called Worm Shepherd and their Facebook community. But I've always loved the idea of like the Overseer like leaking into the album covers of my buddies' bands and just like, wait, who the fuck is that shrouded character? I'm like, that's me. I am the Overseer. And I've been like trying to do that forever now, and hopefully I can still do it in the future. That'd be so much fun. Just like very, very Odin inspired, but also apparently very similar to Dimmu Borgir's The Wanderer. So that's always really fun. And now I have to definitely check this track out again, listen to it again, and see if it matches my vibe. But track 8 being Where Time Stands Still.
Okay. Very intense at first, then we're calming down again. I like that.
Mr. Martin, what is going on here, man?
So that it's another instrumental. So I'm sure JB will have more to talk about on the musical side of it.
Right.
As far as the title goes, I'm a huge power metal fan, and Blind Guardian is one of my favorite bands of all time, and that's kind of like homage to their song "Time Stands Still" of the Iron Hill.
Oh shit. Okay. I haven't listened to Blind Guardian. What would be an album you would recommend by them?
Probably Nightfall in Middle Earth.
Oh, sick. Okay. So straight up a Lord of the Rings themed album.
The whole album it's a concept album that tells the story of the Silmarillion.
Sick. Okay. JB, what commentary and insight do you have for this track?
It was, best of my knowledge, the first track where keys were written first.
Ooh.
I was bored, which is never good, and I sat down at the keyboard and just started. I just had this pattern, just digga 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 digga, and I wanted that last part to just, I don't know what it was, just that moment in my head, and I was like, I'm bored. I'm putting this out there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I wrote it. It was probably a minute and a half,
Something like that.
and Sam heard it, and I'm not sure how it got to where it was, but that's, to my knowledge, that's the first and maybe the only track where the keys were written quite a bit before the guitars and drums got their hands on it.
The reason I remember when we was trying to make it heavier, I asked him what the roots were for like a bass track, and then I had James come to like different power chords, this single note stuff, and then this abruptly just ended to go into something else. Because it was meant to be used on the last record as an opening track, but it didn't happen that way.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, JB, was there like, so you said that when it comes to you like writing music, which we talked about before, you think of the music and you think of what you're doing more as like numbers and stuff. Was there like any type of visual going on when you were doing Where Time Stands Still? Did it like end up aligning with the other two impressions upon the song?
If you're talking about, kind of imagery with it,
Yes.
I never had a name for it.
Mm.
They ended up calling it Where Time Stands Still. I never had a name for it. But the one thing that I could see in my head over and over and over was civilization. A growing civilization, to where I didn't have the title to go by. But I actually released that at some point in time on a YouTube channel forever. I don't know when.
Right.
And I just did like a Canva type videos for it, little short snippets. And all of it is buildings and traffic and bridges and cars. And because when you listen to it, I ended that with a video of a subway,
Okay.
because that's kind of what I was getting at, was time moves so fast. And it was ironic to me when they called it Time Stands Still, because I was viewing
Yeah.
the exact opposite, was it just never stops. And I think that for me, when I put it together, those things go hand in hand. Like I had no idea what the title was.
Right.
I just-
No, that's actually really ironic how it ended up.
It was very ironic because I wanted it to show. In fact, I think I called it Hello. The point, the name of the track was Hello,
I think I remember that.
and it was just because once you say hello to somebody, you might see them 5 years later, but you remember them. Time just goes and goes and goes.
Yes.
And then eventually it just stops. And I guess that's where they got the idea. Was it stand still too?
Yeah. No, it's actually really cool. And I mean, if nothing else, like even if it is just an instrumental, people, there's always a story behind it. And that's why we do this type of shit. Because that's really cool how that ended up working out, how the track of it ended up like contradicting your original purposes, your original intentions with the song. And, you had your multiple incarnations of the song, and then the final product was delivered, which doesn't even resolve itself. Really, really cool. Really awesome detail in the music. So track 9, we have Enigmatic in Design. I almost mispronounced that.
Everybody does.
So that one, I got really stoned one night, and I was watching a documentary on black holes. So literally, the song is just about what it would be like to cross the event horizon. You know, like
Ooh.
kind of what you can imagine what it could be like, getting stretched so thin that just time goes on forever, and
Yeah.
you're being stretched that entire time, so you never really get through. It's just a little bit of marijuana and nerdism.
Hey, yo, it works. If it makes music, and if it makes music like the human tragedy has provided, that's actually really cool. Have any of you gentlemen had the opportunity to see Interstellar? Because I haven't, but I'm curious.
I have.
Okay, all of
Me-
you have.
me-
Okay.
Me and him went and seen it opening night, and we were so pissed
damn.
off because it was recorded in IMAX and like 11, like I think 7:1, and half the fucking speakers didn't work, and it was like, oh, it sucked.
Could barely hear things Emma wrote, man.
We couldn't hear nothing Hans wrote because it was like everything was like panned to the left. I'm like, man, fuck.
Ah, that
But it's
sucks, man.
It's like it's meant to be space, you know. So the way he wrote that was very spacious.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
half space, okay?
Front, left, front, right. Not even a center track. It was just right there.
Oh my
So the only thing we
god.
could hear was like a whispered Matthew McConaughey and an occasional organ. That was
Yeah,
all we got.
yeah. This
That
is
sucks.
this is
What we're
pre-app.
going to do now is we're going to fly through space.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious. I'm so sorry that you guys didn't end up getting to hear the music like your first time sitting in the theater. Oh my god. Like I think it's discomforting being in a theater when the seats are like too compact, or when like it's not that quiet, or when like the sound in general, all the speakers are working, but like it's not as good as it could be. Like the bass drops aren't there or whatever. Meanwhile, you guys are like, we only heard Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
That fucking sucks, man. And that's an iconic film. I still have yet to see it, but I really want to.
I think all we caught was his accent, to be honest with you. I don't think we heard anything else besides that. All right. You know, that accent is all we really heard.
Hey, that's Matthew McConaughey for you. That's all right, all right, all right. Like,
That movie is so good, though. I mean,
Good.
everything about it, it's so good. I'm looking forward to Chris Nolan's new movie, Oppenheimer.
oh yeah.
That's going to be good. About the atomic bomb. Yeah,
JB's like, I don't fucking know, bro. It's okay though. I mean, sometimes it's very exhausting trying to keep up with the world. So I completely understand it. So it's track 10. We have Harbinger of All That You Fear. Like, that's another great title. I love that. What's going on here though?
So that one, I've got some friends that have been in the military and kind of given me their take on what it was like, you know, at war. So basically, that song is, there's like a force or an entity that's there that you can't help but notice on a battlefield, because everybody's scared to death and there's dying and suffering all around. So this force is the harbinger of all that you fear.
Damn. Yeah, war sucks. No one ever wins in war, bro.
Just a little.
just a
little.
Sucks and
So what do you think-
swallows. I'll
so
detail
what do
it.
you think about war?
Yeah.
Sucks. It sucks.
It sucks. No, that's and so like essentially this ended up being kind of like your impression upon what they were telling you, right?
Yeah, just kind of like how I could visualize, you know, what I'm interpreting from their words and things like that. There's like a line in the song, just to kind of paint a visual of it. It's like where I say, in the middle of talking right now, so I don't have, it's going to be like verbatim, but it's
Right.
as the as the body falls, fire another round. So it's basically saying you don't have time to think, you just have time to kill.
Yeah.
And that's all that you can really do.
Which, like, yeah, I remember being like born and raised, and my dad was trying to get me into like the Navy and the Army and shit. I'm like, no, dude, I don't want to kill anybody for a living. That's not, I don't
Right.
want to do that. Like, that's fucked. And absolutely all the respect to all of those who do serve, because I mean, I know none of them want to kill either. Like, and if they do, that's because they're a berserker, and it's like, good for you, we'll send you out first. Like, that type of thing. But track 11 being opus number 1.
Okay.
Is this another instrumental?
No, it's probably the most positive song I've ever written.
Okay.
But it was also one of those songs that, like, I really just threw the lyrics together really fast to try to get the song done so we could get it out.
Right.
But it's basically just, it embodies the idea of constantly moving forward regardless of any negativity that's thrown your way or any obstacles that pop up in your way. Just the constant tunnel vision to the goal. And it's spun in a positive way, even though it sounds like a demon screaming it at you.
Well, I mean, that's always good, is to keep a positive note despite what is the human tragedy, and that's just like what we end up inflicting upon the world, inflicting upon each other. Like, you got to have some type of ambition, and you got to have some type of goal despite all that. So that's really good. Second to last track 12.
Johnny, I want to ask you about, what does that mean? Success will not be determined. What does that mean?
Well, it's only half the line. It's success will not be determined by those who doubt. So that's talking about the negativity that's thrown your way. It's not what's going to determine if you're successful or not.
I love it.
Yeah, I do too. That's great. We have the closing track, which is 12 minutes long. I remember this one. I'm like, holy shit, this is 12 minutes. Like, that being a vile transformation.
Granted the room, and granted this your noise hath chipped down all the majesty of England. Imagine that you see the wretched stranger, their babies and their backs with their poor luggage plodding to the ports and coasts for transportation, and that you sit as kings in your desires.
To conclude the album, what do we got going on here lyrically, Mr. Martin?
Well, this one's definitely the most personal to me. It's about well, not really an ex. We weren't ever an official thing, but it was about a chick. And she was one of them witchy chicks, and so there's a lot of verbiage in there about candles and spells and turning from an angel into a demon, which is kind of a spin-off of what her name was, whatever. But yeah, it's a slut slicer song.
Slut slicer.
Slut slicer. Just like that's
the next album title.
We are the human tragedy. This is slut slicer. Like,
but
great.
So Sam, you can explain the length of the song, because it's actually because there's a hidden track on there.
That's right, there is. Totally forgot about that.
Yeah, the hidden track is something that I was just messing around. I knew like 2 minor chords, and that's pretty much all that is. I wrote that in my bedroom for like over 3 days, and then I just want to put something over it so it wasn't so boring. And I found Ian McKellen was speaking at some college, and it was some poem or something, and I pretty much just ripped the audio.
I thought it was. I thought I remember you telling me back in the day that it was he was doing like an excerpt from some Shakespeare or something.
I think it was Shakespeare. Yeah. So I ripped the audio from a video and then imported it, cleaned it up, chopped it up, and just made it fit.
That's really cool. And I mean, what a great way to end a record. It's just like, hey, surprise, there's more. Like,
Whatever Shakespeare poem it was like they were it had to do with killing people in the middle of the street or something in France or somewhere. I don't remember the exact.
And I have a kind of an interpretation about that. And to me, I think if it was Shakespeare, I'm not sure if it was, but if it was, I think they were probably experiencing a lot of the things that we're experiencing now because history just repeats itself. But I think,
right.
Dealing with their own form of like what cancel culture is now, or cancel culture.
It is cancer culture.
It really is. But I kind of feel like that's what he's talking about because like he quotes like what he's saying is you would put down strangers, kill them, and it's all because they're different, and it's just talking about like just butting heads to a degree that you can't come back from, and I think that it has a lot of tones that can reverberate through what we're experiencing today.
Yeah. No, I mean history, yeah, that's enough said on its own. History repeats itself, and like I don't even know, man. Like there have been so many terrible things that have repeated. It's like you wonder why people just let these things keep happening. Oh wait, it's because they don't care. And like that's
part of the human tragedy.
It's part of the human tragedy. If fucking exactly, dude. So that has been the Under the Skin session for Legacy of Extermination.